다지 추전제비 소남게 조라간지 상제 주파쇼 상제 소주정마 장주파도 다지 추전제비 소남게 조라간지 상제 주파쇼 상제 조랑 소주 전남마 장주파도 다지 추전제비 소남게 조라간지 상제 주파쇼 다야타 가데가데 파라가데 파라송가데 보디소 다야타 가데가데 파라가데 파라송가데 보디소 다야타 가지 para som가데 모델이 소하 심지어 담제거든 도자라나 마치고 산제 고마는 뭐 지는 도바자 대제되는 몇 장주스 말랍잖아 수시는 양술랑게 라와래 신고 신고를 두고 투어를 두지 좀 많아 가지고 는 가서 봐야 돼. 딱 가자. 는 something.
So let's set our motivation as we normally do to really do whatever we possibly can to attain the peerless state of enlightenment, knowing that in order to attain that state we must perfect all the trainings on the Bodhisattva path. To perfect those trainings in turn we need to have a very thorough understanding of what they are about, and to gain that understanding we need to be able to rely on a reliable and unmistaken text. And so it is with this in mind that we are here to listen to a talk on the Graduated Path to Enlightenment series of teachings this morning. Getang Nishu Zapke. Gilki, also somebody because of the Jupto Gida Chawani, Ninga Shini, and then Niba, and some Gida Chawa.
딱 앉아 가서 딱 앉아 저 기부 팅 가도 되지. 기부 팅 가도 들어. 딱 앉아 저 어제 딱 앉아 저 딱 감숨 가와게 와 있네. 동네를 라실을 밑에 버렸어. 딱 앉아 동네를 라실을 밑에 버렸어. 어제 저 딱 앉아 저 뭐다 삼루다는 뭐 쳐봤지네. 아니 텔레타에 딱 앉아 타바지 마탐나 타문도 웃음서겠다. 어제 저 딱 고바시에 어떻게 아니 다디가 저 수가 튼잠서 지다 저거는 딱 앉아 저 튼그 갖고 있는 디나 신체의 고바시에 왔다. 무슨 튼잠 그신 일 조고 아또 그신 일 조고 요라 이나 담보 거지 튼잠 거지 이네 딱 그래 하시다. 근데 딱 그냥 딱 저 디들 고바시에 했는데 튼잠서 지자 제와지 어쩌자 나시다 혼자 지금 랑게 아니 지금 람림 subject 가발리나 티 콤자에다 툼바 아니 지금 가서도 배제된다 로에 배제된다 로에다 아니 가자 디 또바기에라 다지 편도 유겠지 자와 유겠지 와다는데 배제 로에다 와다는 라소바지에 와다는 대체 너버다 응어신자 다 니바 툰잠 니바 툰잠 소치다 제가 춘네스 수바 와르과자 수바 주도 제와다다 뭐아지에 되잖아. 어디서 니바 툰잠 소치다 자와네 툰잠소 양상 코타다 동네가 라신전도 동네 수라 공제의 제와라 따와서 가신노서 툰잠시 뭐더지
내가 그래서 되니 석칭 아니
몰라 내가 어디 갔다 내가 가서 라쪽으로 배자 오마데 도나마제 됐더니 들이 고추를 튼삼 고추는
Now we had stopped at the text at a point where it says the second is to discuss what happens in between sessions. And Gilles finding it very funny, like we start in between the sessions without discussing what was happening in the session, but that was last week. So it seems very weird to be going on to what happened in between sessions at the beginning of a teaching rather than telling you what you'll be doing during the session. But pointing out that we have been discussing the teachings in relation to, in common with the being of moderate or medium capacity, and that in there it's really the key issue is to gain an increasing understanding of how, regardless of where you're born in any of the three realms of existence, that you never get beyond the nature of suffering. So to get that point really clear, and that in reference to what to do in between the sessions is to really try to follow up what you have been meditating on in that context during the session, and to look on to any text that might cover that material in relation to the being of a medium capacity. In other words, that is dealing with the concept of all of cyclic existence being in the nature of suffering. But indeed, again, as pointing out, you can go extrapolate beyond that to really the kind of outlines of the graduated path up to that point as well, and try to make the connection between how they are relevant to gaining that understanding that all of cyclic existence is in the nature of suffering.
And 아니 랑게 지가서도 다 지금 쇼게 나왔네 건다마 예배 바게 다 간제 통화이네 간제 퇴화이네 간제 삼로 코와이네 아니 지금 가서도 코에네다 간제 통화인 바 이네야 디 년중게 줄어 줘야지 가서 디 년중게 줄어 디 탑에 줄어 탑에게 타바 돈돈 얘기 아니 타바 돈돈 얘기 아니 로케베게 아니 줄어 주겠지 어다 되게 배수 제고 그래 그래서 그 랑신야 오딱지 제와이나 아 강가 동에게 랑신을 밑에 와 임바 인자 아니 들레 타바지 마도 타본 상상치.
And indeed, what it means when we talk about between sessions is really, again, like saying, from the moment you get up in the morning till you go to bed in the evening, throughout the whole day, in terms of what you see and what you hear and what you think about, you should be trying to relate that to the development of renunciation. The renunciation that is going to really try to develop the mind, striving to get out of cyclic existence because you see it as in the nature of suffering. And that, just to kind of reaffirm really that reality again and again and again in every experience we can throughout the day, is to kind of really bring that home, to kind of consolidate that reality of that sort of striving for a definite emergence from cyclic existence, and that in turn really inspiring one to strive for liberation.
가서는 지금 코에 줄어 만들고 탑에 줄어 줬던 거지. 어다지 가서 말해서 라므름기 기부 딩답에게는 고전자 데려와. 기부 딩답에 고전데 기부 충무답에 고전데 아니 세딜레 치마 개체와. 세딜레 치매 세디에게 세딜레 아니 치마 개체와잖아. 아니 세디 내단 건데지 임바 있네. 치매게 타바 그 치매게 어느 곳에서도 뭐들 하다 미 고마 대적을 리된 토백에 가서도 줄도 받지. 다 기부 등급 값도 다 그들 거서나 다 딜레 아니 리바 토다야 치네. 아니 코에네다 건데지 임바 있네. 다가네 소소고 저도 그 줄랑 건데지 임바 있네. 아니 코에 줄라 모도 괜찮. 탑에 줄라 줘도 괜찮. 다 탑에 줄라 줘발라 년중 그 찌마서 탑요 말와. 와다데 년중게 어느 꾸마치게 년중게 어느 줄을 줘겠지. 와다데 되지 중화 임바이나 아니 기부 등기 어느 롭중 잡아다 다 고쳐봐 소리지.
And so really what we're talking about here is that for the medium capacity, moderate capacity practitioner, their training revolves around avoiding creating any causes that would result again in cyclic existence, or keep one mired in cyclic existence, and substituting those causes for causes that will lead to liberation from cyclic existence. And that is in all kind of activities, in all attitudes of mind, that should be kind of really trying to hone that motivation all the time. Just as when we discussed the the responsibilities, I suppose, or the obligations for the person of elementary or smaller capacity. Their objective was to change the attitude of considering this life to be so important for considering future lives to be so important. So that was to look into the state of this life and to be saying, I need to get away from the attachment to the things of this life and to aim for a better rebirth in the future as a celestial being, as a human being, and to attain that precious human rebirth in future life. So that was their main emphasis. And so here the main emphasis is somewhat higher. So you've elevated your motivation to see that everything in cyclic existence actually is dissatisfactory, and one must see then that I must not do anything that would retain me, keep me in cyclic existence. So no causes to be born in cyclic existence, and all that I need to do is create the causes to become liberated from cyclic existence and to attain that state of liberation. And in this context, the development of renunciation is absolutely indispensable.
디지 근제죠 바이네 아니 디게체 못 맞지 받잖네 아니 치메게 모델 하다 미 고마게 아니 줄줄에 삼로 코토겐지 다 기부 딩게 따가 고전 잡대 아니 다 저기 코웨게 디지 근제죠 바이나 함이게 디지 근제죠 바이네 토스제게 바게 디지 근제죠 바이네야 디게데 아니 동해그라시 차투겐지 가서데 다다티 잡아 두제게 동엘레 밑에 받지 잡아 두제레 동엘레 마타게 링텔라 다 가서데 마타베 링텔라 아니 다 가자제 모두네다 동 가서데 동에다 교회 동에 니가 게다 뇌소로 짐바 인자 아니 다지 때도 되게지 요금해 받지 뭐 투투해지 뭐 투투해지 왔다 내전에 다데 왔다 내지 로라 상에 차도가 좋아이나 다 간자 기부 딩다베 고자도 추고요 다 디메바이나 다 거외게 디길에 현차체 아니 딜라 고코네 치바이나 다 지금 남는 가자모 가자다 남는 가자 고미인스네 다 소소 셈줄라 패요 말이 셈줄라 패요 말이 왔다 디게 나라서 근거게 배수 제대로 와 어떻게
So here it's looking into the progression of the stages, the subject matter of the graduated path here, which is, beginning with that aspiration of the medium, the moderate or elementary capacity being, where within the stages of the graduated path, it's to de-emphasize the importance that one places on this life and to transfer that sense of importance for what is going to occur in future lives. And that here it's a kind of like a reduction of one's clinging to the things of this life, the attachment to the affairs of this life, and to consider that to be not as important, not important anymore, that to look after future lives is the more important thing. And that then same kind of mode of thinking is more refined when we look at the emphasis for the person of a moderate or capacity, and that here it's all of cyclic existence that one is looking at as being unsatisfactory, and that we reduce the importance we place in the affairs regardless of where we're born in cyclic existence. And that's both then taking in the objective of the person of elementary capacity to attain the state of a celestial being or a human being, and to see that that is not really a very good objective, and that's not really satisfactory, because those states, those births, are still within the nature of suffering, because they do not get beyond what is known as pervasive suffering, and that as long as we do not get beyond that state of pervasive suffering, then we don't get beyond suffering, or we don't get beyond the way in which that pervasive suffering also induces the other categories of suffering, the suffering of suffering and the suffering of change. And so that therefore will lead to the state where we will never have any genuine permanent happiness. And that to gain that sense of understanding, like really clearly, how when we are stuck in cyclic existence, we're also stuck into this kind of deception, clinging to the stuff of cyclic existence, and that if we can't indeed refine our attitude to kind of really more, in a more dedicated way, strive for liberation, it will mean that the actual details of the lam rim, of the graduated path, are not getting through, and they cannot be of any benefit to us. And so here the objective is to really transform the happiness of this life, the aspiration to attain higher rebirths and so on, and that everything that is that comes together with cyclic existence, to make sure that our attitude is such that we transform it into a cause to attain liberation from cyclic existence.
nyamni jile gyo lama jigla jigtem chene 이거 저도 저 퍼들 라망가데 세지다 되네 라망가데 세다면 제다 아니 되네 그래서 담부 소세 차상 마 주요한테 또 자스 무르스데 요데 이네 되게 차상 간투도 그 세부 차답체 아니 되게 되다 양도 메레 엔데네 지가 지다 전에 라망가 세다도 또스 내라 줘야지 안 되게 돼 아니 나는 이게 초심이 있나마 저도지 장대 아니 그래서 라마토도 장 파티 아니 그래서 잠자니다 파티 랑게 지자 자요 라마데 아니 그래서 라마토도 전에 투가 가도 내 소상사체 어디는지 안돼 미버죠 아니 지금 빨리 지금 세네로 공작이 있네 어디는 쓴다 다가랄 미고 어디는지 아니 되네 랑게 지고라 전에 랑게 지고라 뼈맛님만 다외 돼도 아니 반드시 라마를 다게 지고라 그런 고소 통무도 자도 소스 아니 담배 버스 니가 숨가 때도 산재 고마도 근데 계속 소소 소서 장게 지고 거도 다 도서 산재 탐제가 다니 아니 저 가서 왔다 가서 다 같이 라마 샤자 생기지 가서 라마 동안 또 차시 아 장게 지고 요서 왔다는 공부시
And so then, as we normally do in the context of this particular text, we always set up the merit field in the space in front of us and maintain that over the course of the class. And so here we start with the central figure in the center of the merit field with all the other members of the merit field surrounding, and the central figure is referred to as Guru Maninja Vajradhara. And then in the space behind we have the figure of Guru Vajradhara as at the head of the consecrated practices lineage, with all the other lineage lamas just below. And then to the left and the right we have the figures of Maitreya and Manjushri, who are at the head of the lineages of the extensive practices or method and the profound view lineages respectively, and together with the main gurus related to those lineages, such as together with Lord Maitreya we have of course Arya Asanga, Vasubandhu, etc. And then with Lord Manjushri and the profound view lineages will include of course Arya Nagarjuna, Chandakirti, and so on. And then below on both sides there we have the representations from the Kadampa lineages, and the different schools, being the graduated path school, the intimate instruction, and the school based on textual understanding, and that they have three different groups. And then below them the grouping of the Geluk school, with of course Lama Tsongkhapa Jai Rinpoche at the center. Then we look back to the central figure of Guru Maninja Vajradhara, and just in front of that main figure, just below his throne, we have the grouping of our own gurus, those from whom we have received teachings directly, and at the center our own root guru. And then below them and around them we have the different lineages of the different sets of the tantric deities, with the Anuttara Yoga Tantra, the Charya Kriya, Yoga and Charya and Kriya tantric deities represented. Then the different groupings of the Buddhas, all the Buddhas of this 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon, the 35 Buddhas, etc. And then the Arya Bodhisattvas, the 8 close disciples of the Buddhas, there as well. Then we have the hearers and solitary realizers, the Arhats, the Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma protectors, all of whom are represented in the merit field. And then initially from there light rays emanate from the heart centers of all the members of the merit field, going to the pure realms and inviting the wisdom beings who come and dissolve into all the members of the merit field. And then at this stage we can make a 7-limbed prayer offering with mandala, and we can do the offering of a bath, inviting them to the bath and offering bath and fresh robes, etc., etc. And that from there, then we, having completed that part of the generation of the merit field, we now start the dissolution of the merit field, and here we start from all of the members of the merit field, from the Dharma protectors and so on, the Dakas and Dakinis, and they dissolve up through into the grouping above them until they all end up entering into the heart center of our own root guru, together with all the gurus that we have received teachings from. They all dissolve into that single figure of our own root guru. And then on the left and right, we have all of the different members of the groupings there, from the Geluk through the different schools of the Kadampas, dissolving upwards until they dissolve into the remaining figures of Lord Manjushri and Lord Maitreya that remain there, just those two figures. And then with the consecrated practices lineage, all of the gurus from that lineage dissolve upwards into the figure at the top of that, the head of that, which is again Buddha Vajradhara. And so that at this point we are left with just the five main figures of the merit field, being our Guru Muninja Vajradhara at the center, and surrounded in a way by Vajradhara, Maitreya, our own Guru, and Manjushri. And so that when we are, of course, visualizing at the beginning, generating the merit field, it's good to try to develop it as was described in all its detail as much as possible, and try to get as clear as we possibly can. But of course, it is slightly easier, isn't it, to subsume it all down into these five main figures. It becomes a little bit easier. And if we have, at this point, any experience developing mental quiescence, we can use that, whatever strength of focus we have, just to remain fixed on the five remaining figures in the merit field. And that, and then from that we watch how the five become one, and that the figure of Vajradhara dissolves into the figure of Guru Muninja Vajradhara, and then the both Maitreya and Manjushri come in and also dissolve into the figure of Guru Muninja Vajradhara, and finally our own root guru dissolves into the heart center of our Guru Muninja Vajradhara. And then we can maintain our fixed focus with whatever experience we have of mental quiescence at that point. And that here, then we, having done that, we invite, using the invocation verse, the Guru Muninja Vajradhara, to our own crown, to remain there during the duration of our practice. And so, O Guru, O glorious and precious root guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here at my crown. Keep me safe in your kindness, and bestow on me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind. And this is recited 3 times. The first beginning that journey, inspiring Guru Muninja Vajradhara to emanate a replica that comes to the crown. It arrives when we recite the second time, and after the third recitation we have this understanding of Guru Muninja Vajradhara remaining on our lotus and moon seat, mandala seat at our crown, until we attain enlightenment, very steadfast there. And again, all around us are all kind mother sentient beings.
강토도 미국 좀 최신 셋업 아니 랑가 더 심지어 탐제 요소서 어디를 어느 공부장 저거 있나 인지미들 학간다 될 거 말이야 소소 삼료도는 어디다 소신 용조 셋업는 두간을 위해서 아니 20번 수 아니 때 소신 문을 걸어 요소서 마상 매버 요소서잖아 아니 소신 대다를 위해서 주는다 디예윤 그 조주변은 심지어 탐제를 진짜 랍수 삼삼 공부시는 또 배짱아ထောက်자는 가는 그 공부장은 저거 있나 그 저기 최대용 초사
and that a sense there's a very good kind of tradition of spending time in nature in the West and going on walks around lakes or around mountains and so on. And again, is recommending that as well as being able to get some good exercise and fresh air while we're doing that, why not also do our best to visualize the merit field in that context, and that we can visualize all kind mother sentient beings all around us, and that we have all of the figures of the merit field with the invocation for the wisdom beings to come and enter into all the members of the merit field, and we could then subsume it down to the single figure of Guru Muninja Vajradhara in whatever way we can. And then as we are walking, we can recite the name mantra of Guru of Shakyamuni Buddha and any other mantras that we like, but having a feeling that we have that merit field all around us as we are circumambulating a lake or walking around a mountain or whatever we're doing, but to accompany our nature walk with some spiritual practice.
소수의 최고 삼로대 내 팬도 용해제 아니 최대한 요하제 어딘데 전다 간제 저 간제 소수 삼로 당와 있는 아니 소신 가와 있는 요래 소신 가와 있는 요래 내가 진비 랍서 삼사체나 아니 어딘데 그다 저 겨와두가 용되기도 와.
So it's very, very good to not only reinforce our dharma thinking, but it's very good for our health at the same time. And that when we think of the merit field, we think that the merit field is and can be everywhere, and so that we can avail of that to gain the blessing of the merit field and really augment our virtue.
아니 되는 지금 초신 대단에 아니 뒤에 트레이닝 요새 트레이닝 아니 뒤에 초당 또 변화돼 렉당 가리면 신나가면 될 요새 좀 뒤에 좀 심정 가만해 될 요새 좀은 디바데 마자서 진게 랍소 산제가 지 세월 제소 어떤 공부시기나.
And also to use the merit field with the light rays emanating from the merit field, reaching all of the beings, the creatures in that natural environment, be it in the lake or around the mountain, wherever we are going, and that and as such they can visualize that their negativities are being purified, that they're being blessed by the merit field, that their Buddha nature is being awakened, and so on.
소신 검수도 인지민지 검자들도 삼도 당마처럼 가봐이네 삼도 당잖아 어다들 미국 종교이나 미국 종교이나 안다가는 실제 변한 거죠 좋은데 다 디발드 시작부터 변한 지 가서 미국 정생 거저 컨트리 사를 좋은데 아니 배 바주 먹부도 루 먹부도 아니 소신 세다 대다가 징글람네 아니 지 냐송을 내니 받게 맞죠 삼사전 어떤데 공부시기네 지글 봐.
And that, and so just to emphasize that this development or generation of a merit field is not something that needs to be confined to our meditation space or in our meditation session, but that we can use it anywhere, sustain visualization of it in any environment. And very useful even when we're traveling in the countryside and we see lots of cows and sheep in the fields and so on, that we can again invoke the merit field, generate the merit field with the light blessings and so on, and having those creatures blessed so that they can purify whatever negativities that have been generated that keeps them in the lower realms, and so they can be released from the lower realms.
어디를 공부했더나 되는 게부로 원래비 가림바이네. 먼저 점점 떠서 너데다 심제도 닝제 닝제라 삼자자 so beautiful so 다가라는 진짜 안 그게 매버 잖아. 근데 그 좋아 매버 잖아. 거기 닌데 제고 요게 때 이나양 거기 지금 준주를 깨야 돼. 텔레 닌제 소리 줘 봐자. 아니 지금 소신 남라 아니 지금 가서다 가서 레귤슈네 아니 지금 뒤집 법장하고도 징글 라비아 소리 근데 그 공부식이나 뒤집어다 뒤집어 차이를 팽통으로 와.
And so this is to counteract as well, the fact of that, when we view wild animals like kangaroos, wallabies, and so on, or any other animals, there's always this sort of immediate tendency to go, oh, what a beautiful wallaby, what a beautiful kangaroo, let's take a picture, and never goes beyond that. But we have to kind of think, these are animals. These are in the animal realm. This is not a pretty place to be. These are suffering creatures. And so to invoke, generate the merit field and use the descending nectar light meditation to purify negativity, to visualize their eradicating the causes that keep them in that lower realm is a far more useful way to use our time.
다 니바 타바주베 남겨랑 시대를 배발니 튠주 고벌을 지다쳐 튠섬서 지다쳐 줄로 다 당볼라 정말 주숨자 정말 주서 당보 좋아네 잠냥군도 라말하벨라 통화도지 창라 소아데스라 통화도지서 집에 주거더니 라말라 통화도지서 대절롱거더니 라마 통화도지서 탑주군들라 통화도지서 긴도군들 라말라 통화도지서 가족군들 통화도지 추조군들 라말라 통화도지 잠냥군들 라말라 통화도지서 소아데스다 간제 어디지 소대지 제 어디지
So then the second main outline with regard to the subject of the intermediate capacity being is to really ascertain the nature of the path that leads to liberation. And here again we look at the actual nature of what to do in the session, what to do between sessions. And with regard to the first, there's the preliminaries, the actual session, and then the conclusion. And with regard to the preliminaries, again, it starts with that invocation prayer from the miraculous book of the Gelugpas. My most divine Guru, Lord of the four Kayas, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of unimpeded Dharmakaya, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of blissful Sambhoga Kaya, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My most divine Guru, Lord of sundry Nirmanakayas, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara. My divine Guru, embodiment of all Gurus, my divine Guru, embodiment of all deities, my divine Guru, embodiment of all Buddhas, my divine Guru, embodiment of all Dharma, my divine Guru, embodiment of all Sangha, my divine Guru, embodiment of all Dakas, my divine Guru, embodiment of all Dharmapalas, my divine Guru, embodiment of all refuges, I make petition to you, Shakyamuni Vajradhara.
다 되네 어딘데 어느 소 푸주서다 되네 다다 마선제 탐제 어느 코아케네 유일이나 슈트베 동엔 나서 묘화되다 가자 묘화되다 가리교에서는 어느 타바되니 걸로 타바되니 걸로 맞게 교에서 데리서 타바되니 걸로 깨네 람라바솜 수치도 냠서 말라베 안 다티 교에 디렌도 교에 셰수카나 주고주에면도 주고도 소소란 게 마티 맞다 레도 삼사세 어떻게든 삼로다 예바예바체 안데데 이거자 다다 마심자 탐제 교라는 타바되니 걸로 아니 가서대 걔네 람라바솜라 수이신도 안 로바치기 시기 스탐체샤 아니 롬니바데 아니 라말레 징글랍도 소와타 발라데나 지월 라말레 kuichale tuche tama vese chebe kyun ba raja simja tamje ya no lusemla chuna tome tibada tikti tamje da kheba to ya taba to ni lo kene lamlaba suna chuche do nyamso lawala keje ken tibada tamje changsong samsa cha de jawala dena lu dang se we ga raja chen to cheda sono da chuchube tunje tseje wa sono chewa da lo da go yunde tamje peshin kewa 케바도야 타바도니 열로케네 람라바솔라 수치도 럼니가 또바 케바자라체 심제 탐제 줄라 계속 삼사체 어디로 고마시 어디체.
So on the basis of having made this prayer of invocation, and then we reflect on how myself and all mother sentient beings have been born in cyclic existence again and again, and for so long having to experience a really varied, harsh sufferings, and that all of this, the problem here is that even though having generated the mind striving for liberation, I have not practiced correctly the three higher trainings, and that this is the reason why. And so here I make the invocation or the supplication, O Guru Deity, please bless me, that I may rectify this, and so that having for myself and all sentient beings to be able to not only develop that mind striving for liberation in our own mind streams, but to back it up really through perfect training of these three higher trainings. And so as a result of that supplication, then the five-colored nectar lights begins to emanate from the Guru Deity on our crown, and entering into ourselves and to all other sentient beings. This purifying light initially then really purifies all negativities and obscurations that we have accumulated since beginningless time in general, and in particular it purifies the kind of negativities that really interfere with our being able to perfectly train in these higher trainings, even though we have attained or generated the mind striving to attain liberation. And so as a result of that purifying nectar light, our body becomes like pure light, in the nature of pure clear light, and we really feel that we have been blessed with all the conducive conditions, such as a long life, a merit, and an increasing and expanding deepening understanding of the scriptural and realizational teachings. And in particular, we feel we have had the particular blessings to really take on the perfect practice of the three higher trainings, having generated a mind which strives for liberation, and that this is firm in both myself and in my and the minds of all other sentient beings.
kowa tamche dunga ka rangshen de tongne, dunga la rangshen tongne, ane da kanja da dile tawa de kari chigo sana, ane lam laba sum nyamsu la yechi. Da zowa de kowa de kari kogu yorosana, da kowa de koya de zowa danzim, da pa duwa ina danzim marikwa iki. Kune lam yunga de duwa, da danzim marikwa de meba so matu go pato, ane kowa le tawa chubu go duwa. Da 간단지 마리바티 가서데 냠보티 아니 냠보티 다음에 또 배셔랍 차대도 와. 다 다음에 또 배셔랍디 데 냠보 임바 인자 다 가자 남신나 란귤라 다음에 또 배셔랍 깨바 임바 이나 안데 다음에 뭐서 또 배셔랍 란귤라 깨바 이나 아니 퀄리티 주디 사투 보고도 와 카부도 와. 단지 마리바티 매저 마리바 꾸네라네 안 레사바 좀 거버데 안 레사와데 매나 남셰다 바자샤와 좀 거버데 디 매바이나 실레스바송고 쏘다 디 매바니 깨와데 용거바니 깨와데 매바이나 아니 가와데 깨발라 소바타 엔 시웨 동네 되게 용거마르바 다그 자와다즈 마리바티 녀보데니 디 녀보다메도 베셔라 공원도 디 모요데 다까제데 오다까제 롱도가 다 다메도 베셔라 디야 다메도 베셔라 디야 오다까제 땡게지 땡보지 매바이나 다메도 베셔라 다메고소도 베셔라 깨투무도 다 땡게지 피다보지 개발라야 아니 가서데 수진 남바다고 같이 매바이나 땡에서 개투고 말와 개투고 말와 가서나 소수 셈 아니 지 가서데 라완 하도 받잖아 딱 지금 가서다다 지 가서데 아니 지금 되게 되는 차네 아니 지금 가서다다 되는 차잖아 딱 같이 지금 가서 차네 뒤수 덤에 랑 루당 마다 이디가 덤에 안에 딜에 차바리 슉충다 땅네 안디 온도 마소와지 쇠네데 데 추름고 또 그치고 도와 롱아 덤에 용고고 도와 어 추름면은 다 추름 딜라 때네 아니 땡에지 딜라 때네 아니 셔랍 줍잖아 다 디스모 숨데게 토네 돈이 무슨 또 셔를 깨네 다가 제치고 단체 말이 버려 다 갑자기 자꾸 또 와 어떻게 라마 숨데 다가 이제 뒤로가다 가자 지금 디 가서도 코안 다리에다 답을 좀 얘기했다 남기시 맞아 들어와 어떻게
And so really what is being pointed out here is that yes, we develop our attitude so that we really do understand that cyclic existence in its entirety, wherever we are born, is really in the nature of suffering and never goes beyond that. And that initially gives us the striving to attain liberation from that. But it's saying the actual path, the actual trainings that will actually bring that about are these, what are known as these three higher trainings of ethical, perfect ethical conduct, meditative stabilization, and wisdom. And that here it's recognizing that the key issue of our residence really in cyclic existence is this the ignorance of grasping at a self-entity. And that until we eradicate this, there is no release from cyclic existence, no matter how much we strive. And it's also showing us that the antidote to this, the way in which to overcome this particular ignorance, is to develop the wisdom of selflessness. And that this is what can directly oppose that ignorance. And once we develop a direct realization of that particular wisdom, then we no longer create the karmas that will lead us into cyclic existence, because this is the process by which we enter into cyclic existence. We develop karmas based on this particular ignorance, and motivated by that ignorance, and these lay down imprints on the mind that then are activated by craving, grasping, and existence at the time of our death, and leading us into another rebirth where we're inevitably going to experience old age, sickness, and death as usual. And so this is the process by which we continually revolve in cyclic existence. So what the antidote here of the wisdom of selflessness does is cut that process, and so that we are no longer taking a rebirth based on that craving, grasping, and existence, which lay as imprints on the mind laid down by karmas, which were motivated by that ignorance. So we're not motivated by that ignorance of grasping at a self-entity anymore. And of course, it's recognizing, though, that these are three higher trainings, and that wisdom is the third of them. And so it's really saying this. You must understand that to develop this antidote, to develop this solution of wisdom of selflessness, it must be based on a very powerful meditative stabilization to really be able to really cultivate the sort of focus that will penetrate to gain that direct realization. And that meditative stabilization, for its success, depends on perfect ethical conduct. Why? Because it's through perfect ethical conduct that we gain control over our mind, and that the purpose of ethical conduct is to restrain our distractions really towards the objects of the senses, and to really put restraint on the three doors of body, speech, and mind. And that's really the power of ethics, to gain that sense of inner control, and that this on that basis, and only on that basis, can we actually then to settle in to develop the kind of concentration related to these meditative stabilizations, and through that meditative stabilization we can affect the direct realization of the wisdom of selflessness. And so this is very, very important. And then, of course, on that basis, then we are dealing with the actual root cause of cyclic existence, and through its eradication, really leading us directly to the state of liberation.
안 땡에서 이제 셔럽 때다 타바트베가 람 그래 나라도 zambulintinala 지금 단다 다 체리 야제 치네 아니 지 가서제 체리 야제 친체는 다 인터넷 당 되게 되건가 나라도 내가 조금 제투 얘기 튕겨 소리를 둬. 다 니는 신체는 다 지가서데 단다디 땡에 진다 아니 추짐다 셔라 되게 돼. 가서나 타바다 탐제기 버 두베기 인터넷 조금 얘기 어디 차대요 어디를
So drawing the comparison between, you know, the scientific advancements in recent years, especially with the development of the internet and facilitating the very quick completion of particular projects, subjects, and assignments, and so on, and that it's facilitating our lives, facilitating our work. And again, I said we should look on the three higher trainings in the same way, that these are facilitating our attainment of liberation. And so our internet should be the internet of ethical conduct, development of meditative stabilization, and then the development of the wisdom to, you know, get us on the super highway of internet towards liberation.
인터넷 쓰려나? 인터넷 나로 인터넷.
Oh, yeah, an internet, not an internet. An internet.
Same internet. How could you use without internet? Didn't have wrong way use. Yeah. internet. What 간제지 다 되게 개체 못 되게 된다. 그래서 다 간제지 그래다 타바 되는데 딜레 돈나면 해봤잖아. 타바 뚝뚝 말아 봐. 코아드 동해리샤 안 딜레 타고 도스다. 이네 다 딜레 타에게 람 라바서 냠서 말레 봐이나 안 타바 가 뚝뚝 그래. 뚝뚝 말아 봐. 뚝뚝 말아 봐. 뭐다 딜레.
And so it's really saying, look, at this is the path. You know, no matter how much you kind of like look on cyclic existence and go, oh, yeah, sure, cyclic existence is in the nature of suffering. It would be lovely to be free of that suffering, to attain liberation from that suffering. But if you don't do anything about it, then you're not going to get anywhere. So it's saying that, yeah, sure, you might have the realization and the desire to not have suffering, but this is the actual path that you have to travel to attain liberation from it.
다디 지다 추점다 땡에 진다 셔발에 요구요 때 얘네야 셔럽디 뭐다 우메 따왔디 다 남바 코네기 다 개주 차대와 개주 차대다 근데 이제 기부 등기 카드는 다 남배 주문에 되는 거 주고도 와 기부 주문에 아니 좀다 이거 줄로 건가 투모 소리도 뭐도 함이 고마 더에도 건가라 교유에 되겠지 그러다 건가라 교유에 또 미기 주문 거 추점소 류나 돈 류당아니 돈체네 아니 즉 가서 류나게 예주에 도전 돈체네 아니 두배치 차대기도 와 두배치 차대기도 다 다데 가서데 가서데 다 류그래 다 미기 주문 거 추점소로지 어디에 지나 다 저다디 즉 투모와서로 차대기도 왔다. 투모와서로 다 간제 기부 등을 가도나 다 나베 투모만이 베게다. 가서도 다 냠셰데 다 되네 고중 것도 와. 고중 것도 와.
And so also to really look on the entering into the path in common with the being of intermediate capacity as something quite particular to Buddhism. Why? Not necessarily because of the ethical conduct, the meditative stabilization, but in particular because of the teachings and doctrine on wisdom of selflessness. This is unique to Buddhism, and this middle way point of view is unique to the teachings of the Buddha. And so it's really a case here that when we look at the path in common with the being of elementary capacity, a lot of the teachings there in one way or another are similar to other spiritual traditions. idea of a basic ethical conduct, like refraining from the 10 non-virtues, and that restraints on what bodily actions and on different kinds of speech, verbal actions, and so on. These are found within the particular ethical teachings of other traditions as well, and so we say that's a common path. So teachings in common with the being of smaller capacity or elementary capacity are in common with other spiritual traditions, whereas when we get to the intermediate level path, that's an uncommon path, in other words, particular to Buddhism.
다가는 저 상계 좀 되게 계주 연하면에 되네 상계 계주 연하면에 다가자 코에 자왔다지 말이고 뭐저 뒤니부 다음에 또 메시아 된게도 와 다디 상계가 두고 많이 말해도 와
And that's what really distinguishes the teachings of and the quality of the Buddha is this doctrine on how to attain liberation from cyclic existence, and the recognition of the main root cause being the grasping at self-entity, and not only that, but the antidote to overcome that being the wisdom of selflessness. That really distinguishes the teachings of the Buddha.
점을린날 좀다 이거 출루 방법 쉬우지요래. 덤바 맞은 거네 방법 중요해. 덤배 갑래 중요해. 아니 되네 가서도 덤바 양을래 되네 방법 중요해. 다 되게 건강 다도 감각에 다도 맞으면 내가 직 되게도 와. 되게도 와. 되다. 다지 머리 봐도 코에 자와 레슨. 대인이보 다음에 또 배셔를 쓰고도 덤바 약치래도 와. 숙하면도 와.
And so, like we can look on many countless tenets from different philosophical and religious systems that have existed prior to the coming of the Buddha, or existed contemporaneous with the Buddha, and even after the Buddha has passed into parinirvana. But this tradition of being able to recognize the root cause of cyclic existence as being the grasping at a self-entity, and the antidote to that being the wisdom of selflessness, is unique to the Buddha. And indeed, many other of these tenets hold that if one was to eradicate the grasping at a self, that would be completely the eradication of self completely, and they fall into the extreme of nihilism.
다 니바 무신에서 무신에 지볼라마라 검시면 안에 대다sam데서 다 대다sam당 그래서 다 셰바 코란지 뭐네서 롱마데 임발라서 담보 다기에 와라 미네 라싱게 투버 다 라싱게 투버 로키 유데다 투버 로키 유데 투버 나와다시 로키 되네 다도 소알라 되네 아니 다까지 랑초라 차와 셰초라 다와 소다 셰레 초세게 나제라 소베 아니 다 달로티 티게티키 다올로티키 될라 되네 아니 다메 되바다 될라 되베 렌제 아니 대시다 구조송소 아니 그서 매버집에 록다다 태송 될라 되네 누모셰 남자 야게네 대원전 레사는 코알 미tö시도 은동에 나서 연구가 됐다. 중앙에서 중도스. 다 되게 이봐 인자 대나 동에 탐지가 자와 탈도가 있나? 다 마리바티리샤 스마트를 니바니 어떻게
So then the next outline, so we've done the preliminaries, what to do in the actual session time. And that here it begins again with the continuous awareness that we have our Guru Deity on our crown, and to make sure that we enter into continue our thoughts and thinking with that in mind. And here we develop our contemplation thus, understanding that consciousness, mind itself, is something which is neutral. Yet we develop a mind which grasps onto the focusing on ourselves and what is mine in a way that sees it as inherently or objectively existent. And on the basis of then that mistaken attitude of mind, we can see how we have this attachment to everything that is ours, from our possessions to our opinions, and we have an aversion to that which is other, and that on the basis of that too we can often develop an idea that I am superior to others, and this kind of attitude of pride takes precedence, a kind of a wrong view. And on the basis of all these kinds of things, of having these kind of like the starting with this mistaken attitude of self and me and mine, then we can have these attitudes of wrong view or doubt with regard to the teaching, the one who is given the teaching on selflessness, the teaching on the law of cause and effect, the 4 Arya truths, the triple gem, etc., thinking that they are irrelevant or non-existent, and that on the basis of this only leads to the proliferation of mental affliction, and because of mental affliction, then development of the subsequent karmas based on these mentally afflicted motivations, we enter into everything that's undesirable in cyclic existence and have to experience countless myriad sufferings. And this is all down to, we can see the very root cause of all that suffering is this ignorance, this profound ignorance.
강제 다도 대라니 나셰 다도 셰버죠 셰베 대라 세조데 세베 죠나 지버치 윤된 통외 용세베 나이 셰데 죽제레 대나 다라 무셰바 데시데네 코 요르시 셰다 다유나니 셰도 셰 다셰 차외 지만나 대다 당의 용제와 예바 탐제 종화 교수 셰도 우마주고는 더봉가 셰다는 셰주치 셰도 숨베세 되나 코요 데데니 바이데 되나 코요 동네 타다 밤에 타바죠 양다와 쪽에 산지에 고마를 못지 다 진내장 다 토고도 승려바 토고 대체도는 람라바를 못체라 수시도 라바자고 대양 대양사 송나 배유 치시 마소나 님이 시도 체대
And then reiterating this particular point, we have different quotes, starting with Dharmakirti's commentary on Dignaga's Compendium of Prime Cognition, where he says all flaws have this root of ignorance, and the view equating the self with the perishable, the aggregates. And from that, then, anyone who perceives a self always has the attachment of thinking I am. And through this attachment, you develop a craving for happiness. And through craving, faults are obscured. Through seeing them as qualities, deep craving establishes the premise of mine. And from that, a manifest attachment to self. This craving enables samsara. Likewise, you know people as others because you are supposed to have a self. You grasp at the pair self and other and become hostile. And these are all related. All misdeeds arise from them. And then likewise, from the entering into the middle way by Arya Chandakirti. At first, I cling to the self, the I. And so on with all these quotes. So here, we must do whatever we can to attain this precious state of full and complete enlightenment, which is like the perfect liberation, which has abandoned all of the sufferings of cyclic existence. And that in order to do this, I must be able to perfectly assimilate and practice the 3 these particular 3 trainings, and understanding that to really protect these 3 trainings, there's great benefit that can accrue, but if I don't, there's also great danger of great fault that can accrue. And so with regard to the importance of ethical conduct, again a quote from a text known as the Sutra Beloved by Monks, where it says, "For some, ethics means happiness. For some, ethics means suffering. Those who keep their ethics will be happy. Those who lose ethics will suffer."
Ganji Tamchu Rabdu Jibwata, Deshe Temba, Kawa Juese, Ninsen Tune, Lava Chikjova, Sonam Dene, Dewe Jeta Pa, Shesume Chip.
And with regard to the importance of ethics, it really says that one may be able to give material goods which are limitless, and that's a great benefit to be gained from that, no doubt. But it's saying that if one is able to sustain pure ethical conduct, even over the course of one day and night, at this point, when the teachings of the Buddha are in danger of completely disappearing, it said there's far greater benefit from that, from just the keeping of ethics for one day and night. And from the actual the Sutra of the Meditative Concentration, it says, one may, with a pure mind, honor 10 million Buddhas with food, drink, parasols, banners, and rows of lamps, for as many eons as there are grains of sand in the Ganges. But whoever at a time when the Tathagata's teachings will end, when the holy Dharma will completely perish, practices a single training for a day and night, will receive much greater merit.
Sange Jomde de Share Shuve Kabla, and the Sutim Chazan Yabuson Le, Sona Pay Padu by Yogurwata, Dile, and Dande Duzu, Deba Casolata, Natabu Chavi Duzu. The Dejala, Sutin Nakachik Swan and Pay Chayosa. That's not Duzu, another one to Dumba Share Mache, Duzu Jobu Shudrete. In a young, so the Yawan Chagana Pay Chow Yong again. Pay Chow Yong again, Takaja, Yan Tunge Jetua. And these are some of the Yami Yapuchet, and do to let the match at them that me get do to the young, take your sojourn with the lair, Chijet to Wena, and pay a part of your good water. What is it? Untaganish Kenny, that media into the number into a Kenny tomato say Yabuso, and do to say, take your sojourn with the lair. What did the German say? Pay Chibu, that did to tell what is it?
So it's really pointing out here that in terms of those who maintained good ethical conduct at the time of the Buddha, when the Buddha was still living on this in this world, there's obviously great benefit to be had in doing that. But it's saying at this time, this degenerate time, when it's more difficult to do that if one is able to maintain one ethical conduct over one day for a short time, there's even greater benefits to be had from that, greater merits to be had from that. And that the key is here to see how that is a real inspiration to our practice. And so, it should be something that would really encourage us to take on, like the 8 Mahayana precepts or the lay vows and so on, over the course of particular days and so on, and to be able to sustain a perfect ethical conduct at that time, and thereby accrue even a greater merit.
먼저 오다 지바다야 먹으면도 지바 자체부 지면도 초바 자체부 지면도 simply 지면도 수점도 소수 송투고 와. 또 마소나 다가면데 그 조송요 말와. 조송 매버도는 송투에 그 제투에 안디 개발에 개발 산재를 초바부 지바다 원래 소름 차와 송나다 디소솔 지에요 봐. 제도가 다디 비다고 제도가이나.
And so, we may feel, discouraged that, not able to give a lot of, engage in a lot of generosity, giving alms or giving offerings or giving whatever to other people because of our restrained circumstances. But, maintaining perfect ethics costs us nothing. It's free. And so we should be able to really try to do our best to maintain and refine our ethical conduct. Something that we can do, for sure.
직제베 루르게데서 무슨 레베기네서 기네 달려 동부 신도 체와시 중대 다대 바도야 중가 바도 매번 농심 마오바나스 야 유리도 농아 신도 체로죠 또 직도 돌래 델라라라 자 개부 델라사 라라 개부 직제장 랭거 대장 chewa tomi jor. Tube kalon tsumi dajana dunjo jojo ele dablushin shesumi chitcha.
So this is the benefits of maintaining our commitments and our ethical commitments. Of course, on the other side, it can be there's great fault in not maintaining our commitments. And here's the account from previous time, during the time of Buddha Kashyapa. And that it was saying there was a particular monk who contravened deliberately the teachings or the recommendations of the Buddha by cutting off branches of a particular tree. And thereafter was born as a naga with a great palmyra tree growing directly from the middle of his brain. And it said that this has continued, this kind of inconceivable suffering for him has continued right to this time and will continue on into the future. From Sutra, it says, when someone disobeys the king's command, they may not receive any punishment. But when one does wrong and departs from the Muni's commands, one will become an animal, as happened to the Elvarna Naga.
신기 얘가 제가 잡다 말이다. 이나다 고바 매봐. 다 아니다. 어디서 개치고 말했어. 산지게 얘네 되게 신기 얘가 제가 지금 그래서데 다 같이 지금 어디 가서라다 제배나로 유되게 다 같이 지금 어디 개치고 말해. 개치고 말했어. 다 같이 낭중 지에 줘 봐. 그래래네 개치고 지에. 그래래네 개치고 지에. 그때 되네 다고네다 심정의 생각 정도 지금 제고네 아니 지금 거서도 교쌤다 제베 거네. 다 어디 개치고 많이 개치고 말했어 맞지 맞잖네. 지 교쌤다 제베 거네. 지금 어디를 전에 제바이나 건 내줄로 가자. 다 뛰면 맞잖네. 가서래. 제대 개치고 말에 개요 말했어 줘라. 단낭중 지네. 제바다 좀.
So again, as pointing out in this particular case, it's the attitude that particular monk, with which that particular monk contravened the rules of the Buddha, that constituted the greatest fault here. It's saying the term is that they were they deliberately contravened it. They were acting out of disrespect and thinking, no big deal, I'll cut off some of these branches, and that it's a lack of respect. They were quite contemptuous with regard to the rules. And so this is what caused this very severe result for them. Whereas if they had engaged in the same activity, but with the motivation that it was really in order to benefit others, and that with regret for having doing what they were doing, but with a positive motivation, then the result would have been quite different as well.
그거 집어져 뭐 삼로 캐다 아니 나와 쉬어요 봐. 다 최된 게 제도. 셀 페퍼 줘. 아니 최고 돈다지 주베 제도 아니 제초바 제스. 나와 쉬어야 돼요.
And so you can see again how the thinking behind our actions is what determines the severity or otherwise of our actions, the motivation. So to maintain our actions with a dharma motivation is so important.
아니 그래서 최된 게 자와서는 아니 최라 시바지라 편배체도 최라 편배체도 아니 나와 쉬어야 제초바 제스. 제초바 나와 쉬어야. 가서 permission.
Right. So it's like in a situation like this to make sure that our motivation is for the benefit of the Dharma, for the benefit of other sentient beings, and to engage in it. Say an issue like this of cutting down the branches of a tree, to really ask permission that it may be okay to do this, to go with proper humility into the act.
내가 다게서 지다 켈라도 주진나 속에 제함이 당 송시 라바자와 냠도 삼네 대야 다드네 임바인자 다가 저 고시 연구유도 다 미시바데 동아주에 거래 마구바데 동아주에 밤에바 동아주에 녀모망한테 동아주에 고인바인자 아니 고시디 캐고 요래 이 맞이나 동아 용한테 네바 용한테 그와 어디래
And so then there's this determination that may I be able to maintain my proper ethical conduct and all of the commitments that I have taken purely and perfectly, even at the cost of my life. May I not give up my commitments like that. And so it then follows the teaching on how to prevent our breaking of our vows, how to avoid infractions to the commitments that we have taken on. And this requires the closing of 4 particular doorways to those infractions being incurred. And this is one, the first doorway to close is the doorway of ignorance, of not knowing. Then there's the doorway of an attitude of disrespect, the doorway of a reckless lack of conscientiousness, and the doorway of a kind of prevailing mental affliction.
대마 추신도데 안 가서 람점 가서도 랍 아니 람점 좀 용수 좀 봤다 대다고 마주나야 줘봐지 질라면제 잠다 대다고 마주나야 아니 기부 충전이 나와서 고아 잡아채내서 아니 고아 잡아채 제수 이나 가서디 어디를 고아 잡았잖아. 답에는 개주이나는 가서다 이나 도와가리 가서다 가리가 납주 받아. 근데 개주기 랍자 숨자바 된 남지에 센터반 남라 때네 셔바자 다다도 저 랍종을 수고요 버려서 어디를 다 결론이나 결론을 랍자 남다. 마다 양사 벤제 탐제 제비 숨금진 난자 랍자 도도 잡래야 다왔잖아. 다 가르가르 송에 송고도 안티바 셰바치나 다 지치고서 야나 개와 탐제 개베 집에 제베 결론게 랍자 도도 나무 콘도 추바 셰바다 라메도 원시 용수 조바 토바 이나네 아나 도바 니슈바소 장세게 랍자다 자동 봉빈 남샤 남 셰바치나서 라레나 테바제바 메도 메로와 인사 뭐다 간제지 뭐다 소소소소게 돈바까지 숨고요 봐나 배나잖아 다들 또 랍종아 시차 숨고요 때 이내 다 배나 지가서데 미게이나 미게게 다 지금 개니가 돈바 가르가르 숨고도 아니 되게 다다 송차 개주인의 개주 거란 게 landia sojola to but get the shibachi kilon kilomai so tomatic tabo hakobache and canto do that switch to some to a go just go your hotel and Taganish Jajusembe that young legend Jajusembe tomato killing and switch to Suega Jansen Satu to get the hakobachi and Sanga in the Sanga Disha hakobache and switch to some else to hotel.
And so here, with regard to the first of the ignorance with regard to our ethical commitments, or not knowing our ethical commitments, the antidote to preventing this door opening is to become aware of what our commitments are, and to have an understanding of them. And to gain this understanding, then we need to rely perfectly on a teacher whose own vows have not been compromised, and whose knowledge has not been compromised, and that they are a fully qualified teacher. And the best is that we have a full understanding of what we have taken on in the context of the stages of the graduated path. If we can't have that much, then we really need to have a mastery over the basic precepts of practice for ourselves. And if not that much, then at least that we have a good understanding of vows in relation to the elementary and intermediate levels of the graduated path. If we are a novice, monk or nun, then we need to have an awareness of the 50 verses of the Karika. And if, again, with regard to a novice, ordained person, again, to have a reading and understanding of the 300 verses related to advice for novices, and the commentaries that go with them. For a fully ordained person, they need to have an understanding of the advice for a fully ordained monk or nun, at least to have a knowledge of the summaries of instructions within the full set of teachings of the omniscient Panchen Rinpoche, the Panchen Losang Choki Gelsen. Yeah, Panchen Losang Choki Gelsen did that. And then also there's the text of the brief instructions for fully ordained from the works of the omniscient conquerors of the Dalai Lamas, the Ngaba Chenpo, the fifth Dalai Lama, I think. And so that you should become acquainted with those texts. And then if one has taken any of the four highest yoga tantric initiations or empowerments, then we have to really know what the vows are, and to read the 20 verses on the vows, and the understanding the presentation of the main root downfalls within those vows, and to kind of make that practice really indispensable to us. And so it's in brief really saying that here, in relation to vows in particular, and in relation to those that are ordained, we need to be aware and do our best to keep those vows. And for lay people, it's any of the lay vows that we have again taken on, to be sure what they entail, and to what degree we are keeping or not keeping them. And again, for the bodhisattva vows and tantric vows, is the same.
Loyem de Penachawayina, so Sandamento, and Shella. That Jawachemachoba. 다 미개이나 저 현재마다 대야 아니 대야 소소 산다 임바이나야 주면 내가 없다 아니 구성도 된게 대야사다 아니 님이 내가 없다 아니 소종다 된데 대배가 없다 그 되게 되는가 심바체네 아니 강도도 지가소다 문에다 내가 최적인 지바이나 다티면은 건네 줄로 가라 문에다 내가 최적인 지나 아니 뒤에 심바체네 아니 뒤에 튜바체네 아니 지금 수준 소에다 지금 물어와
And so really this is the first of these doorways to close, doorways to downfalls to close, is this one of having some sort of ignorance with regard to what commitments you have taken on, and to really then, the way is to inform yourself and to be very, very clear on what you have taken on. And so this even goes for even the 10 ethical conduct of refraining from the 10 non-virtues, to know what the 3 related to physical actions are, the 4 related to verbal actions, and the 3 related to mental actions are. For example, even to look into the sexual misconduct, the physical fault or negativity of engaging in sexual misconduct. What does that mean? So it can be to avoid any physical contact with somebody who is not your chosen partner, for example. But it can also, talk about the incorrect times that one has a sexual contact with your partner, or in presence of the representations of Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, for example, or while they are engaged in practices such as Nyungne or anything like that, and not to engage in any sexual contact during those times and in those places, and so that one can make it and that much more detailed in regard to the kind of commitment you're taking on as well. And so when the time when they're menstruating, or at the time of when somebody your partner may be pregnant, during that time it's said that to engage in sexual conduct is sexual misconduct at that time. 다들 신고 여바냐 소소 도마들 그거면은 야 다보샤 자기 말와 다보샤 자기 말와다 마구바테 동아주에 고차대고 이베 대녀부 녀보다 다 지가서 덤바 데베 담고 덤바 대 제베 랍잖나 하나 랍자 때라 추신도 로베 저 청과 송바 줘봐 남라 아니 그거 찾고 그랬어. And so here it's with regard to really any set of vows, category of vows that one has taken on, to make sure that one is well informed, and that one is serious about the ethical conduct that one has committed to taking on, by making sure that one is very aware of what actions are permitted and what are not permitted, because it's often the case that people incur very easily the faults of breaking vows, or in causing infractions to one's vows simply by ignorance, by not knowing and not being aware of what vows they have. And then the second doorway through which faults occur, downfalls occur, is through disrespect, and that the antidote to this is to sustain our respect for the teacher, the Buddha, our teachers in general, the instructions that we have been given, and that and the ones who are perfectly practicing those instructions, and that they are acting in accord with those, and we should see them see our responsibilities to emulate those who are abiding perfectly within the instructions and within the teachings, and in that way foster respect.
what is that debate session is similar and ranking the what's a sent to the chair you are and part of the much.
The third doorway through which downfall can arise is through a sense of recklessness or a lack of conscientiousness. And the antidotes here are to cultivate the kind of twin mental factors of a sort of shame and a sense of consideration for others. So this is like really looking into our own consciousness, which sustains. We have a sense of shame when we fall below a certain standard that we hold for ourselves, but also we have the consideration for others, a development of a heightened consideration for others, and a modesty in the company of others. And this is augmented by, of course, the twin factors of mindfulness and alertness. So this combination of mindfulness, alertness, the sense of shame or embarrassment, and modesty and consideration will help to overcome a lack of conscientiousness by developing its opposite, a sense of a deep conscientiousness.
and the demo and the Denji was also come never Namyang because of Mikuba to the number Tabala and Bevachimuris,
And the fourth doorway through which downfalls arise is through our most prevalent mental afflictions. And so the antidotes here are to really isolate the mental afflictions and to focus on each in turn, so that the antidote to attachment, desire, and so on is to meditate on on ugliness, and the antidote to hatred is to meditate on love. The antidote to ignorance is to meditate on interdependent origination. And it's through habituating to these that we need to develop, or really make effort as much as we can to develop a pure ethical outlook, so that it is never tainted by any fault. And here it's really a case of being very, very aware. And again, here again is pointing out how important mindfulness and alertness are in all of these particular, to prevent all of these doorways from opening, really. And that because it allows us to catch the arising of the mental affliction from its start, from the beginning, and to recognize it from the beginning, and that avoids it from getting worse and developing into something which is really negative. 야부 책 그것은 딜레 셀이 개와주 용어도 되사 랭고 요와 그 야부 있는 야부 책들을 맞고 되사 말와 되사
그 야부 통한데 첼에 개와전 첼에 개와서는 가서 오버스가 야 첼에 개와래도 아니 뭐유 내주 통음도 와 뭐유 내주 통음도 와 다디에서 그 뭐유 내주디 통하지 그 라신 가르샤 아니 제가 제체는 아니 라신 디 통에 아니 그 되자 마 자탑치에 슈청 딜라 때문에 다 되자 개와이나 아니 딜라 때문에 아니 작당 로기하고도 와 개하고도 와 이 차단 로기하는 거지 뭐유네 그다 차단 되자 개와나 뭐유네 주 통발 뭐유네 주 마다 작당 개하고로 와 작당 개하고래 차단 개하고 그래 안 뒤에 저는 너무 많은 고급지라고도 삼삼 전에 그 슈충 다에 중으로 와
So just in reference to the meditation of countering attachment, being to focus on the ugly, and here it's really saying that one must rather than focus on ugly here, it's a lot more skillful to really see what the true nature of that object of attachment is. And that here the objective is not necessarily to see that that object is ugly, or because that can spill over into a sort of developing an aversion towards the object, and so that's really not that skillful. What one is trying to do here is to really put a stop to the exaggeration that attachment is of overestimating the goodness of an object of attachment. And so here one is really seeing what the true nature of the object of attachment is, and that in that way one is able to control, to reduce the level of attachment and get a more a realistic view of what one is attached to.
그거보다 작사 유의들 아니 작사 유의들은 그것이 남기도 아니 나와나 시게 두개 문도 군소백에 라신 거라 아니 작사 유의들 두개 문도 돈다베 라신 거라에는 두개 문도 제바체다 다 군소베 라신 거라 두개 문도 제바체도 아니 간사서는 작사 유의직 배제 요 말이야 가서나 그 때문에 아니 경기 참만 뭐지 통한테가 거기 최연사 경기 참매고 요 말와 경기 참매고 뭐 무슨 통한 그래 아니 들라 때문에 잡아도 숙종 다 줘야 좀 그러와 잡아도 숙종 다 줘야 좀 그러와.
So this can be placing the object of attachment in a meditation dealing with like seeing the ultimate nature of the object of attachment. So we're saying that the object that I am attached to appears in this way, but it doesn't exist in the way it appears. Conventionally it appears like this, but ultimately when I analyzed it, it doesn't exist in the way it appears, and that here you can see that there are certain faults to my assertion and so on, and my attitude, and that in that case it certainly reduces the exaggerated effect that is part and parcel of my attachment.
차바케나 페나 류라 때네 차바케게 돼. 디 나라 때네 차바케게 돼. 안디 카도라 때네 차바케게 돼. 다 차바가와케게 돼. 아니 계서 차바케데 아니 디 군조베라 실에 때바 이나야 야고 삼로탄도 아니 차바케서지 매되겠지. 다 된다바라지 강가 찍버려 와. 유대는 맞고 찍버지잖아 와. 다 군조베라 실에 때바 이나야 아니 차바케서지 매되겠지. 그래서 군조베라 시 페나 차바케서 유 배나 류라 때문에 잡아기게 돼. 류. 야나 카도라 때문에 기게 돼. 로아다 배나 잡아기게 돼. 야나 깨라 때문에 기게 돼. 로아다 디가 간다 또 류라 때문에 기다. 아니 류 코랑게 주가리샤. 아니 봐봐 쟤도 아니 지금 가서래. 지금 밤에 쿠다네 중화다. 아니 류 코랑 내다 야 보시 때문에나. 아니 저 방배 담샤르면도 박배 인도 가버려 쓴 자료보다 더 파악모가 있나 다 지금 가서래 지금 샤다 타다 안 취세다 대대지 인들이 잡아겠어서 배제 매대긴 소치 매대가 소스다 그 소스 남도 그 소니 아니 소스 가게 유배 좀 생기지 남도 그 소한 것도 와 남도 소다 네가 가져와야도 차바께서 매대겠지.
And so then, even from the conventional analysis point of view, kind of saying we can make this meditation effective if we're looking at the object of attachment in this case. And so we ask the question: where is the attachment arising from? Is from this body that I'm looking at? Is it the complexion of the skin? Is it the speech, the sound of their voice that gives rise to my desire, my attachment? And that, and then looking into it more deeply, then, like, you know, if it's the body, then what are the causes that bring about this beautiful body? And you think, well, it's the sperm of the father, the ovum of the mother, and you follow that process up to kind of give an answer to that, and then that sort of doesn't look that appealing, slightly loses that appeal when you think about it in that way. And that this beautiful skin, what about that beautiful complexion? Well, then let's look at what's behind the skin, and just pull it apart and see the flesh and the blood and so on, the sinews, tendons, and that doesn't look so appealing now, and so on. And so in this way, one is actually using that conventional analysis to reduce the exaggerated part of the attachment.
야구도 소소 망저 소소 삼로 소저래도 소소 삼로 야 소소 삼로 소요.
And so in a way, this kind of like the perfection that we see as a result that gives rise to attachment is very much these kind of mental proliferations that we develop and cultivate in our own thinking.
피네 라지 여바에는 미강게 야구도 가시 야구 통고도 가시 야구 통고면도 와.
So if beauty in that sense, or the object that which gives rise to attachment, was something that was ultimately existent, you know, then we wouldn't be seeing some as beautiful and some as not, some as an object of attachment, some as not.
용다 거려 말. 그다 그 소소 삼로가 소소 가게 입에 좀 생게 아니 야구 통해. 마가웨니까 배 두자 통고도 와. 미치기네.
So, you know, we see good things in those we like, we see bad things in those we don't like. Even in one person, we can see good things and bad things, you know, depending on what our attitude towards them is. It's all our unreliable thinking. Yeah, it's all this mistaken thinking. And indeed, that initial mistaken attitude which gives rise to attachment on the one hand, aversion on the other, and from that all trouble arises.
ane changane pime de sosol marawa yina di mi sheba de changsa jawa yina ane mi tile nyoba kege do 가시 세게 도와 로규 나올 때 도와 다들 가서는 그 소랑 경제도 해도 랑 경제도 해도 다 소소로 말아와이나 셀라 라주고면서 근데 세션들이 연구도
And you see, like the flip side of such terrible attachment can be tremendous jealousy as well, and that you often see in we hear accounts of, you know, a particular person who has been arrested because they had this tremendous attachment for another person, like another girl, and then that girl married somebody else, and then out of jealousy this person murdered one or other or both of them. Because they couldn't handle it, and this all because of their own obsessive thinking, and these are the real severe dangers of attachment. So we want to, you know, when we see, you know, that which is we regard as beautiful, desirable. You know, that we have to wonder how much of it is actual the fact in the thing itself, and how much we are creating from our own attitude, our own thinking.
tane mewa so mato go bato ane dila tene lenya ba mangbo sa lenya ba sa wal tene ko ne tare guga bi marwa ko ta guga yu mare
and so that do we see how much we need to constantly reduce our attachment, our craving, our attachment, and that for as long as we can't get rid of it completely, it will always lead us to accruing fault and negativity, and as long as we do that, there is no way we will reach liberation.
어느 어렸다 세상이 내보대는 잠바고에 잠바랑 줄을 개발은 세상 쓰거든 지금 들라드는 파전도 네베 삼로도 용도고도 잠바께 어떤 네베 삼로도 용도고 말와
and so that the antidote to hatred is the development of cultivation of love, and we can see that there's the obvious correlation there, and that to really reduce the attitude of that kind of a harsh aversion that is part and parcel of hatred. Love is the only answer in that regard.
잠바단 세와요나 아니 미디게 연대 통고도 연대 셰 통고도 다 셰당당 차도당 데데께도 미디게 연대 셰 통고도 미디게 연대 관나 소소 기부면도 들도 아니 된지다 아니 가서 들라데는 아니 랑게 연대 라 셴게 갖고에 셴게 연대라 랑게 막아에 근데 차다가 로도 짜게 되기도 와
and that through hatred or any kind of aversion in that regard, it's very difficult for us to see, let alone appreciate the qualities of others, and that it sort of masks our capacity to be able to see the good in others. And so it's very, very, very important that we do whatever we can to reduce that and to open our minds, really open our hearts through love, to be able to see the good qualities that others have. And that again, this sense of aversion, that if we cultivate that, it has this sort of narrowing effect in that we can only see our own good qualities and not able to appreciate the good qualities of others as well.
랑게 나라도 지금 동네 망고 지금 애는 마시베 온게 때모고 온게 이것도 애는 때데 안티그 리트베 줄레 리트베 되고 연구 버치도 랑라 동네 중앙이면 오디 동네데 미게와 때는 중앙에 아니 그 미게와 온것도 쳐봐야지 되고 동네 중앙에서 예바게 되지 뭐 여기 내저 시베 돈에 아 동네 셋업 제도예요 그렇지 주고 줄로 얼마 주고 주고 와 뭐죠 나도 또 마디 버치고도 오 디교를 쓰거든 카나다 텐데 먹고 싶게 열다 문에다 텐데 남는 지금 요 말와
and that with regard to the antidote to ignorance being the cultivation of interdependent origination or dependent arising, and that here it's again understanding that when problems arise for us, when suffering arises for us, we must be able to see the reality of that and not point a finger out at anything else, and where we're constantly trying to do blaming this, that and the other thing for our misfortune, but rather see that this suffering, I have to own it for myself. I created the non-virtue that has led to this result, and that the reality of the situation is that I must avoid non-virtue in the future if I don't want to experience this kind of suffering, and that there's no need to point a finger anywhere else except where it really belongs, and that's into myself. And so here, that's what's regarding developing that sense of the interdependentness, the reality of everything being connected in this way, that what's happening to me now is a result of what I have engaged in the past.
나가는데 타바다 탐색해봤으는데 아니 제 겨왕같이 쓰는 줄에 아니 지금 뭐뭐 많이 받지 뭐뭐 데모 마게지 아 뭐뭐 많이 받지 타바 탐색해봐 뭐트예요 그렇지 텐데라 텐 유텐데 두가 유텐데 줘도 저부터도 용초사래 냐송 냐와 이다 되는다 냐와서 통고 못다 냐외 주 아니 랩 베냐바 톱치 못된다 사이도가 되다 때는 대부분 와서 용초와서 그 땡지 중에잖아. 네바데. 타바다 탐지켜봐. 갑도다 통금도 돼. 얘네야 주 아니 년중 장세 양답에 따와 아니 사주 랑알어서 림게트는 전 치바이나 된대지 용초사래 삼삼지. 아니 때네 중할 때는 네바니 되지.
And so, with regard to overcoming this ignorance through the antidote of dependent origination, that it also can serve to give us certainty with regard to the path. In other words, to see the correspondence between cause and effect, and to understand, sure, that when they talk about the non-virtues that can lead to the lower realms, we can see the logic of that, the possibility of that. If we engage in particular non-virtues, they're going to send us down to a suffering result, and that seems to correspond. But at the same time, there's a path that is presented here that says that if you accumulate these particular causes of virtues, these particular causes such as developing renunciation, bodhicitta, the correct view of emptiness, that it can lead to the state of liberation and the omniscient state of enlightenment. And so we can see the independent arising, the connection between cause and effect in that way, and say they correspond. That seems very possible, and that seems very likely, and so we get more certainty, more conviction about the path itself.
And better and the paper jaw. That Jenny was the Lama Ching lab to source, so at the Waladena, and Jibo Lama Kula Kizina research Rasha Simja Tamjala Tingana was a Casa Jubana Jimmy to say Jum Babiasa, that Rasha Simja Tamja, that Tim Tom Diva Keba to ya, and the cake chebe, actually Nambata was so a cake chebe, Diva the Tiba Jasusa.
And so then, as a result of reflecting in this way, we make supplication and to the Guru on our crown. Oh, please, Guru Deity, please bless me to make this so. And as a result of making these supplications, then the 5 coloured nectar lights emanate from the heart center of the Guru Deity on our crown, entering into ourselves and all other sentient beings, and purifying all negativities and obscurations that we have accumulated since beginning this time, and in particular overcoming the obstacles or the obscurations to being able to develop, such as been described here, the pure ethical conduct and development of these 3 higher trainings, and that and as a result of that, then we feel that our body becomes like pure clear light. We are endowed with all the conducive conditions for perfect practice, such as long life and merit, and an increased and enhanced understanding and appreciation of the scriptural and realizational teachings. And as well as that, we gain a particular blessing to perfect the 3 higher trainings and to overcome any obstacles to being able to perfect those trainings.
다 간제자 랑게 지월라 아니 지금 가서다 라마샤자 세게 와다들 아니 지금 다 간제자 수대체 와다들 아니 근데 전다 간제 대삼샤 초말에 다 되네 저 아니 랑게 닝가들 빼마답제 지고 빼마답제 지고네 아니 대 가서 대위라 아니 네바다베 대체 대체 아니 지고 라마샤자 세게 제자는 받았잖아 라마는 벌써 다 닝가 빼면서 그냥 고소도 무르자도 수대자 답을가서 빼 니베가서 수배가서 때도 주네 아니 산제 고마마도 받아 제수 송송 삼성한테는 공부시.
So making this supplication to the Guru Shakyamuni on our crown, we establish the lotus, sun and moon disc mandala seat on our crown with the 8-petaled lotus, and then we make the invocation for the Guru Shakyamuni to come down to our heart center. O Guru, O glorious and precious root Guru, come take your lotus and moon seat placed here at my heart. Keep me safe in your kindness. Bestow on me the attainments of your body, speech and mind. And again we recite this 3 times, beginning the journey down through our crown, down through our central channel, and then reaching the seat that we have prepared, and then having the certainty that the Guru Shakyamuni Buddha is absolutely steadfast there at our heart center until we attain the state of enlightenment.
And then I got a ranking Ningde and the Pemata Mazum and Namju Neta Nishine and the Candela Takaja, Doji Chegachiba, Casodata, Tezi Jabasaka, what the Doji Chegachi, what the Chig, some such. And then I knew the Lata and because young say, Oma, you already also, young say, you didn't score it. Then Seje the Kaga, Southern Bower, Yalasa, Haja was, and Sanskrit, Seje to the score it. Then Marapuanda, then they got it to the score it. Then Tamadel and Seje to what the score it. What I did is Seje the score it, then they got it, Tamatamaria, Corona, what did the and Quane, near so some what did the check.
And then the 8 petals of the lotus fold over the figure of Shakyamuni Buddha at our heart center and enfolds the figure of the Buddha. And then this is again sealed at the point where the tips of the petals arrive at the top by a half or semi-dorje. Again, it is further sealed by the following mantras that encircle the lotus and moon and sun disk seat. The Sanskrit vowels being circling in a clockwise direction, the Sanskrit consonants in an anti-clockwise direction, and the mantra of dependent arising in a clockwise direction.
Then rangi because of the ningu vitala takaja lama shaja singa tile wese tuna rangi chibone cheta kanti ke pake lu tamjala wese ki chamne wese chabon to takaja chi chabala tena ranchen da dazi mariba pacha da chabata nyama chaso samsata an dagane singe wata kaja dende chayege an chikaso kasoda ta chika sanje komba ampe tsijila tuwela an za long tiglela soba digade an zai gyön digade nya kasa gyön kari yoban digade sang za cheba shawa kumbala soba zai gyön kari chubana dagane singe chika kasoda tiglela gyön kari na long gyön kari de kanga be shine de gyön da jawa je jungsu samsang 대자 마세다 체질라 산제 고마 토비엘라 객 치슈데 탐에게 낭시에 차차다 대자 탐에게 낭시에 배다까지 바차다 제발 다 내가 차수 영어에 국가 중반수 어디서 공부시 어디서
And so then as a result of this, then these powerful light emanates from within the enfolded lotus, sun and moon disk mandala seed, the encapsulation, and that it permeates through these leaves into our body and pervades through every single pore and atom of our body, from the tip of our crown down through the soles of our feet, and such that we are purified completely of all negativity and obscuration, all our self-cherishing and self-grasping, as well as the imprints of those attitudes, and that we have been endowed with the capacity to be able to attain the state of enlightenment in one short life through the equalizing and the calming of our winds, our channels, and our drops, that are purified of all inner fault and infraction, and they are all in balance to be able to be used towards the attainment of liberation in one lifetime. And in particular, the main fault of our being able to attain enlightenment in such a short time, our attitude of ordinary appearance, of seeing things in an ordinary appearance, is completely nullified and eradicated. That's something really wonderful. I think this is great for me. I rejoice in this. And then through the combination of my own most subtle wind acting as the substantial cause, together with the body of Shakyamuni Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions, my own body transforms into the enlightened body of a Buddha. And then through the combination of my own most subtle mind acting as the substantial cause together with the mind of Shakyamuni Buddha acting as the cooperative conditions. My own mind transforms into the enlightened mind of a Buddha. Now my whole body, speech and mind are indivisible from the mind, body, speech and mind of the Buddha. From this arises bliss, from that bliss voidness, and I abide in the wisdom of non-dual bliss and voidness. And the place I am in transforms into the enlightened Buddha realm. How wonderful today is the day I have reached that state of enlightenment, enabling me to be of benefit to all sentient beings. I totally rejoice. And so then I emanate countless rays of light from within my own, from my heart center as a fully enlightened Buddha, equal in number to all the sentient beings in all the 6 realms of existence, and going to all these realms, entering into the crowns of all sentient beings, purifying them of all obscurations and negativity, and allowing them to spontaneously arise as fully enlightened Buddhas. And then all of these realms, all of these places in which these beings reside, they dissolve into light and then transform into Buddha realms. And again, something I can really rejoice in, how wonderful today is also the day that I've been able to fulfill that aim of leading all sentient beings to the state of enlightenment. But I now make my powerful and sincere dedication, knowing that I'm performing all this just at the level of my own imagination now, but that it may quickly become truly manifest. I dedicate sincerely. And then to finish off the outlines, said at the conclusion, one follows as was previously described or said, and then what to do in the between session time. And here again is to look on all of the texts and instructions on vows, such as the Pratimoksha vows and so on. That would be very useful, and that this then completes the explanation of how to train the mind in the stages of the path in common with the being of intermediate capacity. And we'll leave it there for today. So we do the Lamrim prayer. From my 2 collections, vast is the space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this great path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.